This video is meant to be a response to the claim of historical ownership to the land of Palestine made by Zionists. Over the past few months, as I've debated many Zionists, I've noticed something peculiar that I don't think many people pick up on, honestly, which is a strong sense of entitlement to a land they've never contributed to for like centuries. Interestingly, this claim of ownership is based on the historical evidence of Jewish presence 3,000 years ago. While it stems from biblical references, it's actually pretty much historically accurate. Of course, you can find videos on channels like Travel in Israel that showcase historical evidence and proof of Jewish presence 3,000 years ago. It's true that Jews ruled the land of Palestine thousands of years ago, yet the idea that a land abandoned by its so-called indigenous people could just possibly, all of a sudden be reclaimed only for them to return thousands and thousands of years later to decolonize it seems entirely unreasonable. If anything, it feels like a medieval justification that the Crusaders may have had over, to carry out the outrageous campaigns that they've done. Of course, in this video, I'm not going to dwell into historical accuracy or numerous other claims made by Zionist cucks, which have already been thoroughly refuted by historians, researchers, and content creators who have done extensive work defending the Palestinian cause. My focus on this intriguing idea of claiming ownership to all land that supposedly belonged to them 3,000 years ago. While yes, Musab, you can find artifacts, coins, and various other historical evidences showing that God's so-called people, chosen people, once walked, ruled, dined, and even shit in this place 3,000 years ago, that is. However, there's a component that they keep missing, which is that land is often inhibited by people who have lived there for generations or even centuries, forming their own culture, political, and legal attachments. So, whatever biblical history they had in that land is completely invalid because there is already another group of people that have inhabited that land, created their own culture and political attachments. Displacing them because of claims based on ancient history or religious history would cause immense upheaval, potentially violating rights to self-determination. If claims were granted based on ancient ownership, it could open the door for countless other historical claims, leading to widespread conflict. Many regions of the world have had complex histories involving multiple waves of conquest, migration, and settlements. Yeah, maybe the Assyrians should just rise and overtake Syria and throw away the nasty Muzzies who have already, inhabited that land for centuries. This claim gets even crazier considering that, people in that land literally have had history. You know what I mean? Centuries of history. In general, historical ownership alone doesn't typically justify reclaiming a land after such a long period, especially if the land has been continuously inhabited and governed by different groups of people over centuries. We're talking the Umayyads, we're talking the Ottomans, we're talking the Abbasid, we're talking many dynasties that have ruled over that land, and they generally identified with Arabs. Doesn't mean that they were not a distinct culture in that region. Whether Palestinians had a national identity or not by the time that they wanted sovereignty, these people already have been living there in that land for centuries, and there was a culture that stemmed from there. Yes, this land was not empty. It wasn't colonized by Arabs, as they claim. Rather, over time, the continuous mixing of culture, ethnicity, and religion had created an independent culture to the people inhabiting that land. Because if you go right now to Syria, Lebanon, and multiple other Arab regions, you'll see that the culture tends to be very different than other Arabian regions, which is why Palestine is distinct. Yes, they are Arabs, but they are distinct, and they have the right to sovereignty, as the UN ruled in 1967 that the Palestinians are a people who deserve the right of self-determination. Of course, that doesn't mean that they have no sovereignty ownership over the land that they have been kicked out of over the centuries. If anything, The problem with Zionism is that it is a continuous terrorism to the lives of people who have inhabited that land and are still inhabiting that land, and they're not being able to practice the right of self-determination and to be able to govern themselves, as we can see in the West Bank. So, if anything, the Palestinian national identity is not respected as it should be. It is, although it is by the UN confirmed to be a national identity, the Palestinians are confirmed to be a people and they deserve the right to self-determination. And of course, Zionists will just tell you but God gave me this land, and it's like you can't take people like that seriously. As soon as someone starts telling you about their historical achievements in that land and how, their grandpa's shit has been found and it is 100% DNA Jewish, you have to step away because these people are not worth debating with. Either way, this was the quick video I wanted to just make out. So yeah, if you guys want more, just type it in the comments. I mean, I wonder how many people this video would reach, but yeah. Hope you had fun listening to me yap.